Now to Indiana, where the state has rested its case in chief today in the Delphi murders trial of Richard Allen. Court TV senior producer Barbara McDonald has been covering this trial and has the latest details. Barbara, great to see you.
Great to see you too, Michael. Today we heard from the 40th witness for the state, Master Trooper Brian Harshman of the Indiana State Police. He listened to more than 700 phone calls that Richard Allen made during his time since his arrest, and 7 of those were introduced to the jury today. In those calls, Richard Allen says repeatedly, "I did it. I killed Abby and Libby." The witness also described going through, after listening to these calls, going through the investigative file and trying to get more information about some of the things that were said. And he said that there was one unique mention from Richard Allen about something that he thought was brand new information, and that Richard Allen, in one of his confessions to his prison psychologist, mentioned that as he was abducting Abby and Libby, he was interrupted by a van near the area where he abducted them on the south end of that bridge, and that is information that only the killer would know, that only the killer, Abby and Libby, would know that that van was there. We do expect the defense to call the owner of that van. They began their case late this afternoon. They've called 2 witnesses so far, Michael. Both of them are talking about the timeline that the state has laid out as the defense attempts to poke holes in that timeline. Michael?
That courtroom today?
I was in the courtroom for the first part of the day up until the lunch break, and then I was not in this afternoon.
So how did this information go over? Some of this stuff is pretty damning against the defendant. From your estimation, when you were in the courtroom, how was this information going over?
The jurors were absolutely focused on what they were hearing. They were provided transcripts of the 7 calls that were played for them, but they were not allowed to keep those transcripts. Many of the exhibits are printed for them, and they do keep file folders where they have all of these things that they can take with them at lunch and during breaks. But this transcripts of these calls, the judge said that is not evidence, so they were not allowed to keep those transcripts. They were able to look at them as they listened to the calls. Some of the calls, it was very difficult to hear exactly what was being said. Richard Allen was quite emotional in many of those calls, as was his wife and mother. His wife cried frequently in those phone calls. Richard Allen, I was not able to see him as they were playing these calls in court, but at one point I did get a look at him, and he appeared to be emotional listening to his own voice on these recordings. His wife Kathy sits behind me, just a few seats over, and I could hear her sobbing during parts of those calls, Michael.
Incredible. All right. Now, as the state began to wrap up its case, they tried to get some evidence that they just came across. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so they said that they learned this information during the lunch break, and this evidence was a video taken in Richard Allen's jail cell at the Cass County Jail, and he's been held there since very late August. And so this video was from sometime in very late August or early September, and apparently he's very agitated in the video and was very upset, was banging on the cell, and at one point threatens to kill the guards who are watching him. The judge allowed the defense to take a break to review this material because it was brand new to them as well. They obviously objected to this coming in. The judge watched the video back in chambers, and she ultimately decided that the jury would not get to see the video. However, they allowed Mr. Harshman, the master trooper from Indiana State Police, to describe what happened in that video and talk about what he heard Richard Allen saying.
All
Michael?
right. Barbara McDonald, thank you so much. Really eventful day out there in Delphi, Indiana. Truly appreciate it.